Hi, and welcome again to the final video of this series, which is part 8. So, in this video, we are going to talk or we'll go back again to the front end. The previous video have finished everything with the durable functions and with the service bus. So, our job was done between all of them here. So, let's recap very quick before we dig more in depth. So we have uploaded or we sent the JSON data to the trigger function. Trigger function took it to the temporary process media container. So the orchestrator will be listening to this container. It will take the data, process that data, upload it to the Azure storage account. At the same time, after you finish, we pass that data to the queue. Queue will store that temporary data again to be waited to be handled again by the queue handler, which that will take it to the service bus. So we stopped here. In the service bus now we have our topic and our subscriptions. So how we can handle this now data that stored in our service bus to be back to the our front end application and store it in the database. So we can straight away send that data rather than send it to service bus to our database, but that will be something called monolithic distributed. So it will back to the same issue. You are handling too much data in the same place. So we are trying to split the applications. The front end will be handling the user request, send it to the back end, and someone will do the hard job in the in uploading that images and store it. So that will be in Azure Functions. So our part today is we'll try to do this connection between the front end and the service bus using something called MassTransit. Or you can do it in the other way, which is the traditional way to create your worker and trigger that worker every time or every few seconds. So what is the MassTransit? So the MassTransit is someone, good man, let's say, he created that library to make our life easier. That library can work with multi or many support major of that of the message brokers, RabbitQ and Service Bus and Amazon SQS. So currently we are working with something called only Service Bus. So, but can if you learn or if you can handle the data in Service Bus, I'm sure that will be easier in the RabbitQ or other one. So this library is very simple. Just you install the package that you need, and they will give you something in the middleware. You said, give me your connection string, give me what you want to handle, and we can process the data for you. Something similar to CQRS, how you can have consumer and other stuff. So let's go. I think the best way is we can go deep straight away. No, here a few things he's mentioning here. When you get your service bus, you have to be always on the must be standard or premium. I think the basics one is want to support the topic. That as I mentioned before, you can find a lot of videos explaining how to create it. I'm sorry I can't share it with you because that not my account. I can't share anything on that one. Or I don't own any Azure account, private one. So they said you can create your or register the services as a MassTransit, and you can choose the type you want that will listen to handle the data, passing a connection string, and pass your endpoint and your worker here. The worker will not use this worker. So we'll see that what we are going to do. So let's close this one and close our the PowerPoint, and let's go now where to the as we mentioned in the front end here. So we are going to create or we need to register the service in the front end service. We get service to listen to the any changes on the service bus. Let's do a new folder, and we call it, where is that folder? I said I create folder. Yeah, this folder. And this folder will create again inside that folder a class. This class will be called MassTransit. Why it is slow again? Come on. Oh my God. My machine getting again. Okay, a bit. Yeah. So we got create that the class, but before we do anything in that class, let's install the required library for MassTransit. I will straight away add the reference in here. We are using version 8.2.1, and we are choosing the library that only for Azure Service Bus core. Let's close this one because, as I mentioned, you can work with more than one type there. They have the RabbitQ or the Amazon something. And let's go here. So in this class, as I mentioned, I will just make it easier for all of us and copy my lovely code and what we are having here. So as I mentioned, I will straight away, we are registering a MassTransit subscriber. We are passing the config because we need from the config, we need the connection string. We'll add it together now and say add MassTransit. Let's call this one using MassTransit. So all this stuff here has been explained by the documentation there. So we're adding the MassTransit scheduler. As I mentioned before, there is if you want to do it in the traditional way, you have to create worker, and that worker should be scheduled and should be trigger the service bus every a few seconds just to see if there is anything in that service bus. So you need to back to something similar to what we have used here, but here we are sending only. So if you want to listen to that one, you have to create one more endpoint similar to this one to always to call that the handler and always register it, and it will be a bit long and tricky code. It's not long and tricky. There is many examples online. You can see them there. But I think the MassTransit solve all that issues. I think it's very simple and nice library. So they said, give me your consumer. So I'm making our life easier. So if I have more than one consumer, I'm just calling the assembly to get the consumer. I will show you what mean that consumer. And registering the endpoint format. So here the big job, or what we are doing, we are saying use service bus. This is my connection string. Where's our connection string should be? Should be stored in the, let's close this one and let's back to here. Let me get my connection string from somewhere. And oh no, here, sorry. Because I'm using this one straight away. I'm not using any environment. Let me copy my connection string in here. So it's similar to that connection string. What we have used should be same. What we have used in the localhost settings here. Same connection string should be used here and in my app.json settings. I don't need this one. So we have passed the connection string and saying what type of data you are processing. So this here, they call it the event. So the data structure you are sending, they should be always matched. So what you are sending from the Azure function to the service bus, where our diagram. Let's go to the diagram. So the data type you are sending from the queue handler to the service bus, we are saying it is type of media response. And also what you are expecting here should be type of media response. And let's include it. And I need the topic name. As you remember before, I told you we need to be, the topic name will be as a const here. So we added always here. And also you have to pass in the configuration what you are saying here. You are configuring the endpoint who is listening, which subscriber, and you are configuring the consumer. Consumer still we don't have it. We have registered already all the consumers, but I didn't create this consumer. And here this one took, to be honest with you, a long time just to understand this one because I wasn't aware of that. You have to say I'm receiving JSON, raw JSON. So I've been digging a lot about this issue. I found the who created this MassTransit library. He mentioned about it. He was wondering why people there need to send JSON data. I think it's easier for us to send the data. So because you want to send, sometimes you don't need to send only event. Sometimes we are sending message. The message contains more data. So I don't know what is the better than JSON to send the data in the transit. I think that's what was the reason. And also here we are configuring our endpoint to trigger more than 3 times. So it's something the same, the retrying more than 3 times if something happened during the connection. So now the main job, let's say, or the main things is, what is this media consumer? So the media consumer will be a function that will be waiting when someone send data to the service bus. The MassTransit got that data here, and he says, I got data type of media response. Who wanna handle it? We are registering something called media consumer. That consumer who will consume this message. Let's create that consumer. Let's go create something called, we can say consumer or services. I wanna create a super class, and I'm gonna copy my lovely code from somewhere and do this one here. It's again something, it's not that complicated. If you are working with a CQRS, I'm sure you will be aware of. It will be easier for you to understand it, how this working, how this process. So we are saying we create a new consumer. That consumer will be type of iConsumer. We would pass we register it as a media response type. So any things coming in the middleware media response type, it will be handled in this function. So this function straight away will send you the context. That context contain the message you sent, or the data you sent will be context.message.uri and context message.uri and the product ID. Where is the product? This one here. So this is what we are getting in the context. So when I get this data, straight away I can pass it to my database. Where is it? This one. I think we have to create something like this. It's called image. Yeah, copy and paste sometimes not good. So it is this one. And what you are saying here. So our table name is images should be. So as you can see, it's very simple. After we creating the consumer, we back to our the master where we register it. So just we call that reference for it. So this service now it's been completed, so we don't need to add any extra stuff. As I mentioned, it's something, it's not that hard and not that simple, but it is something doable to be done. Now the last step is to register this service. We can register it in the startup, and we have to pass also the here. Let's go after the controller, doesn't matter where is it, we can add it here, that's fine. So we are saying add the MassTransit, that the function we have created here as extension. We have called it in the startup CS. That should be everything. If I back again here, I think that cover everything in this connection here. So we are going straight away, as you see in the consumer, we are straight away taking the product ID, we get object of the image table, and we are passing the ID of the product and with the URI. And straight away will be stored in the database. And let's go now to the testing. Let's start the application together. That will take time. Let me put this one here. If I make half screen with I don't know which one more, should be running the Chrome too. I'll give it a second. Where is it? So here you can see we are running the Azure function. You will see more than one endpoint. So this is the main endpoint which we are sending the object to it. And here the orchestrator, which is the HTTP trigger, but we are not using that one. Also, we have here the activity trigger for the image. And we have the blob storage, that which one is we send the data to it and the orchestrator taking from it. The queue handler and the say hello. This, I don't know why it's still calling say hello. And send to the queue. So that's the moment. Let's try to create something new and pass the data there to it. I will leave these two screens next to each other to see what's happening here. Let's say create new now. Let's say price 1, description 1, and I will choose first time single image. I will say I want to upload this one to Azure. I say create new now. So after we creating in our front end stuff and Azure Functions start working now. If I go down, new now, I say details. Still, if I open this now, I'm not seeing any image here. Why? Because the image is being uploaded and being processed in different application. Refresh here again, still I'm not seeing anything. But still my function is working in the back. You know, you are splitting the two processes. So, but I can see now here is they are saying has been processed or passed or something like that. So if I refresh now, I can see the image being uploaded here. Let's go one more time, send more than one. Let's say new, one, and let's choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say OK, and upload it to Azure. So now will be more data to be handled. So being triggered by Azure. Azure is working on them, created five functions. That 5 functions, they are each one of them uploading by itself. When all of them done, I'll pass that images to my queue. Queue pass the images to, see, they're coming one by one. That's what you can call it the start of the microservices. You are trying to split the services. You are not going to do anymore something called monolithic. All applications should be work on one application. If something is broken, that means everything is broken. No, if my Azure function now is broken, still I will insert the name and the price and description for the image. And as I mentioned before in my diagram here, I'm showing you the benefit of each one of these services, but also at the same time, you know, let's suppose the first Azure Functions was working and I received my data and the orchestrator took the data from here and something happened in one of these functions, broken. When you will track your or debug the issues, you will still see the live data is stored in somewhere, and you can rerun the orchestrator to handle this data. Same if you are, let's say, broken, this queue handler broken, or the service bus is broken, but still your data exists somewhere. You can reprocess it one more time. That's what they call tracking your issues or tracking your data, or always having backup plan for it. Some people they like to add database between the service bus and the other database. You know, that different approach people they like. You know, I don't know what they call it. I forgot the name, to be honest with you. But there is many approaches how you can handle your data. The event driven or the other patterns or architectures. So this briefly, I think I don't know if I hope if you to say you have enjoyed these videos and learned something new. Please let me know in the comment if you have any question or any suggestion for future videos. I'll be happy to answer you. And thank you for your listening and watching this video.